I come to the floor of the Senate to say to my colleague from Kentucky, let the unemployment bill go. Let's free the unemployment compensation bill, the bill that will fund COBRA health insurance benefits, put people back to work building highways, and let's pay the doctors the fees they deserve for saving lives and improving lives. Why, all the bills in the United States of America, are we holding this one up? I think it is outrageous, and I think it is egregious. My Lord, look at this. Right now, in the United States of America, 400,000 American citizens are not receiving their unemployment benefits. They've been laid off, they've been pushed around, they've been pushed out, and now the United States Senate will not act to extend their benefits. Then there's the health insurance benefits called COBRA. 500,000 Americans aren't getting those. Who gets a COBRA benefit? No, it's not a snake, though there are a lot of snakes around. It means that if you were laid off from a company, you have the opportunity to, with your own money out of your own pocket, be able to buy insurance and get a modest subsidy to help you through this. My gosh, why can't we do this? And then there are the thousands of doctors that are not being paid. And there's the highway people that are not being paid. Madam President, I gave you national statistics, but I'm the senator from Maryland. And I just want you to know that tonight there are 4,700 unemployment workers in my state who are not going to get their unemployment benefits. 4,700 unemployed workers, money that they could use to be able to provide their family with a safety net for food, for housing, for heat, for the expenses of the activities of daily living. This isn't a number. It's not a statistic. We're talking about 4,700 families who won't have a source of income to get them through this very, very difficult time. Oh, and then there's COBRA. That, again, COBRA pays 65% of the cost of health insurance for people who've lost their jobs. In Maryland, this is 9,282 people. Again, close to 10,000 families who have lost their benefits. COBRA makes sure they have health care. We're talking about someone who worked for a company all of his life. Then he was laid off because it was part of the great layoff that's going on in my state. He went to buy health insurance, and he's buying it through COBRA. It cost almost 4 times what it cost when he worked. At the same time, he's got health problems. He's a diabetic. He's a father. He wants to work. And most of all, he wants to have health insurance for himself and for his family. But oh no, we're holding it up. We're holding up because of something called pay-go. And then, what else are we doing? We're not paying our doctors. Now, regardless of how one feels about health insurance reform, you can't have health reform without doctors. And the opposition to health care reform have said, like Mr. Boehner, we have the best health care system in America, in the world. Well, if we have the best health care system, why aren't we paying our doctors what they deserve? Highly skilled people who work sometimes day and night to be able to save lives or improve lives. They assume the risk of medical management of highly complex cases. Why are we cutting their pay for 21%? I don't see those guys over there cutting their pay 21% until we figure out how to pay for our salaries. Why are we cutting doctors 21%? I'm so frustrated about this. Whether it's job reform, whether it's health care reform, whether it's mortgage reform, when in this body, when all is said and done, more gets said than get done. And the American people are as mad as they can be, and they don't want to take it anymore. And I feel the same way. I am sick and tired of all this obstruction tactics that prevent people from getting the benefits they need to take care of their family or fund the programs that create jobs. Now, if we're going to have job reform and health reform, I think we need Senate reform. I'm old-fashioned. I believe that the majority rules. I think 51 ought to be a magic number. I am so tired of the tyranny of the 60. Oh, we need 60 votes. 60 votes, a supermajority, every time, except for the Pledge of Allegiance. I come back to wanting the majority rule. This is why I stand foursquare for filibuster reform. Madam President, I'm heart and soul a reformer. Sometimes a little too mouthy. Some people say I'm a little too feisty, but I want to get the job done. And I'm ready to duke it out in the arena of ideas, present our best arguments, present our best cases, take a vote, and see how it turns out. I hope when I offer amendments, I win. But if I lose because I get less than 51, I feel that I've gotten a square deal. But if I have to go after 60, I feel that I'm inhibited by the tyranny of 60. I believe that the filibuster is a dated, arcane tactic that belongs to another century and another Senate. I want to see the filibuster rule either ended or modified. Now, are those on our side of the aisle say, don't do that? What happens if we lose control? We might not need it. Well, maybe if the majority ruled, we wouldn't lose control. But most of all, maybe the American people would see us actually debating, discussing, amending, and voting on ideas. Right now, the other side hides behind procedure. It hides behind process. It muddies the water, and the people are starting to catch on. I'm calling upon our institution to seriously consider Tom Harkin's legislation. I think Senator Harkin's onto something. Both Senator Harkin and I are great respecters of the Senate and its traditions. We understand the filibuster and when it was used for great and grand debates on, for example, the expansion of civil rights in our country. Under the Harkin proposal, you would get 4 shots at it. I think my colleague from Kentucky would like it. He's a baseball icon. You know how you get 3 strikes, you're out? Well, maybe we would get 4 bites at the apple. The first time you would vote, you would need, and if you don't get 60, it would fail. The second time, you would need 59 votes, or it would fail. The third time, you would need 57 votes, it would fail. The fourth time, 53 votes, and then we would come back to 51. So we're not for throwing away the filibuster, but we are for modifying it. And hopefully it would bring us to a Senate that once more functioned as the greatest deliberative body in the world. Now we're the greatest delay body in the world. We don't deliberate, we delay. We don't do constructive things, we do obstructive things. This is not the Senate that the American people want. They want us to debate ideas. They want us to do due diligence on those ideas, to make sure that they're sensible, that they're affordable, that we are doing something that accomplishes the great missions of our country. But I want, again, majority to rule. So I call upon the senator from Kentucky and the other party, let this bill go. Bring it out.